Hello guys, welcome to Tiny Scroll. Be sure to like this video. And don't forget to subscribe to Tiny Scroll. Saving Nora Episode 5. The photo, which had been taken half a year ago, was just a snapshot from one of Athena's surgeries. The subject was wearing a surgical cap and their body was fully covered. All one could tell was that it was a slightly chubby woman. She was looking down at her work with cat-like eyes, her gaze focused and serious. Justin thought those eyes looked a little familiar earlier, but just as quickly as the thought occurred to him, he dismissed it. The physique of the woman next door didn't match. It wasn't her. As Justin racked his brains for an answer, next door, Mrs. Lewis was pushing Nora to go to bed. "Nora, you can't do late nights with your poor health. You need more sleep than other people, not less. I can't allow you to stay up any later." Nora stretched and said in a slightly hoarse voice, "Okay." Although she had recovered from her illness 5 years ago, her constitution was weak and she had little energy. She needed a full 12 hours of sleep every night. During her time abroad, her aunt had even nicknamed her the Queen of Sleep. If she didn't have a reason to get up, she could just sleep straight through 3 days and 3 nights. The next morning, she was woken up by the sound of her phone ringing. She answered the call with her eyes closed. She could hear Angela's voice on the other end. "Have you thought any more about giving me the company?" "Not really." Angela softened her tone as, if trying to sound charitable. "How about this? Let's both take a step back. I'll give you $500,000 if you transfer the company to me. That would be a good trade, right?" Nora turned over and found a comfortable position but still did not open her eyes. Ideally, in Pharmaceutical's annual net income was approximately $5 million. It had been handed to her father as her nominal guardian for the last few years, but the company really belonged to her. Although the money didn't mean all that much to her, she wasn't about to just give her mother's company away. Angela continued, sarcasm creeping into her voice. "Does your aunt even have $100,000 saved up after all her hard work? This is $500,000 we're talking about. You've probably never seen that much money in your life, right?" Nora pressed her lips together, silently amused. The presidential suite cost $100,000 per night. Her aunt had been so concerned about ensuring Cherry's comfort while Nora looked for a house that she had booked an entire month's stay. Angela couldn't be more wrong. When Nora didn't respond, Angela changed her strategy. "Nora, you might not know this, but that company isn't making any money at all. It'll go bankrupt soon. If you transfer the company to me, there may still be a chance to make it profitable." In her mind, Nora laughed at her sister's lie. Angela went on, "It's a pharmaceutical company. You were never great in school. You wouldn't get it. I'm a high-achieving medical student, and, I've got a ton of professional knowledge. I'm even going to apply to study as a postgraduate student under Professor Athena. Athena is the most amazing surgeon in the world, and she can perform even the most difficult operations. She's a legend. When Athena's surgical talents were discovered, they were still in medical school. The doctors at Athena's school allowed them to complete their medical degree in just a few years because the professors ran out of things to teach them. No one had ever seen anything like it in the entire history of medicine. She's really mysterious, though. Boston University has gone to a lot of trouble to get her to come over to be a professor there. I don't even know why I'm bothering to explain this to you. It's not like you understand what I'm saying, Nora. Just quit while you're ahead. Don't stick to a bad decision just to make a point. The company will only go bankrupt faster." Nora knitted her brows in annoyance. "You talk too much." Agitated, Angela demanded. "What do you mean by that?" She wasn't bothering with trying to sound nice anymore. "Are you pretending to be dumb because you don't want to cancel the engagement? Anthony loves me for my looks and my brains. Even if you don't give me the company as a wedding gift, he'll still marry me all the same." Speaking about gifts, guys, I need you guys to give me a gift. Please click the subscribe button. So do you want to do this the easy way or the hard way? Nora hung up and tossed the cell phone aside. She hugged her pillow and fell into a deep sleep once more. Angela's threats were ridiculous. The Smith family was full of monsters. Nora refused to waste her time worrying about them. After finishing up her 12 hours of sleep, Nora finally forced herself to get out of bed. She needed to find a private investigator to look for clues about her son's whereabouts. She got dressed and prepared to go out. At the door, Cherry gave her a very quick hug before going straight back to the game she was playing. Nora called after her, "Don't play games on your phone all day. I don't want you ruining your eyesight." "Huh, that's 4 kills. Got you, dummy." Cherry's hand tapped away quickly on the phone she was holding when she heard her mom. She nodded without even looking up. "Okay, don't worry, Mom. I'll take care of Mrs. Lewis." Nora shook her head. Cherry clearly wasn't listening to her at all. After a moment's hesitation, Nora added, "There's a very difficult person next door. Try not to go outside." Cherry's eyes immediately widened with interest. Is he a monster? Mummy? Justin's arrogant face appeared in her mind. Nora, who had always been reserved by nature, said slowly, "Well, this monster is very handsome and has a mole in the corner of his eye, but it seems that his brain isn't working very well." "Oh," Cherry waved. "I definitely won't go out then. I don't play with dummies." Nora laughed as she closed the door and got ready to go to the elevator. But as she turned, she immediately froze without her even realizing it. Justin had come to stand behind her. He was so tall he made the spacious hallway seem cramped. His dark eyes were staring at her, and even the mole at the corner of his eye seemed to exude a bone-deep chill. He was probably going out. An assistant and a bodyguard followed behind him. There were only the three of them, but his presence was no weaker than it had been during their encounter in the lobby the previous evening. Nora raised her eyebrows. To be fair, her aunt had given her 1,000 reminders and warnings before she returned to the States. Nora knew her aunt could protect her from most people no matter what she said. However, Nora also knew that no one could mess with Justin Hunt. She had sent him a sarcastic message as Athena last night. That had been easy to do from a distance, but now Nora cast her cat-like eyes down slightly and said casually, "Mr. Hunt, I was just joking with my daughter. I definitely wasn't talking about you." Mr. Hunt's assistant, Lawrence, fought to keep from laughing, but the corner of his lips twitched a little. He couldn't believe how this woman dared to lie to Mr. Hunt's face. He had heard everything she had said about the monster with a mole at the corner of its eye. She hadn't said it aloud, but it was clear that monster's last name was Hunt. There was no visible emotion on Justin's face. He was rarely expressive, which made it difficult for people to know what he was thinking. He merely cast a long look at Nora before taking the lead and walking ahead. Nora hung back deliberately to let Hunt's group take the elevator and put some distance between them. Once they were gone, she let out a sigh of relief. That man had only given her a simple glance just now, but she could feel the fury in his look. He was trouble. It was best she stayed far away from him. In the elevator, Justin narrowed his eyes slightly. He hadn't been able to see clearly in the dim lighting the night before, but running into her today, he could see she was astonishingly pretty. She kept her cat-like eyes turned down demurely, and her curly eyelashes were long and black. She appeared sweet and docile, but a wild energy seemed to crackle from out of nowhere. Something about her felt familiar, particularly the way she stung him with such polite insults. Back in the Hunt suite, Pete waited until he was sure his father was gone. He was a little afraid of his father sometimes. In his head, he thought of the man as a demon lord. Once he was sure the closet was clear, he dialed the neighboring room's phone extension. Someone picked up and he heard a young voice say, "Hello." Pete paused. "I'm staying next door. Can I come over and visit you?" The little girl sounded surprised. "Oh, are you the little dummy from next door?" Pete was shocked into silence. He was used to everyone knowing him as a genius and a prodigy. This was the first time someone had called him a dummy. However, the little girl quickly spoke again. "Can you play games with me?" A light twinkled in Pete's dark eyes, and he replied, "Yes, I can. Subscribe."